this computer. Hey there, Shanna Lemke here, and I am excited to be interviewing Christina Rhoads today. Christina is in California. I'm in Idaho, but I think this is going to be a really great conversation. Christina is a personal trainer, a nutrition specialist, and a healthy home baker. So I'm going to let her elaborate on how that works together, what that means, and what that looks like, and see how it can help you. So tell me.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on to do this interview. This is going to be a lot of fun. I just came from a ballet class that I was teaching, so I'm kind of in the mindset of talking. So I think that actually helped. Like you said, I'm a certified personal trainer, and I've been doing that since 2017, which is when I opened my business, Rhoads to Wellness Coaching. And I took that name from our homeschool. We used to be a homeschool family for about 6 years, and we were Rhoads to Wellness, Rhoads to Learning. And I kind of just chopped off that learning and went, oh, this still kind of works. Let's put in Rhoads to Wellness. My last name is Rhoads, and I wanted to kind of play on there are different pathways to get healthy. It's not one way. Everybody is different. And I wanted to kind of use that. So that's why I chose Rhoads to Wellness. Like this way is healthy for you, and this way is healthy for you. Let's just be positive about being healthy in general. And let's kind of get to a better place together for what that looks like individually for each person. Yeah, thanks. Cool. I started that in 2017. And then about a year later, I tagged on the nutrition specialist part. One just led into the other. If you're going to exercise, you're going to teach people how to exercise. The next logical step is to teach them how to eat properly as well. And then last year, during the pandemic, one of my clients said, hey, I really would like these muffins or these cookies, or I think I started with cookies. Really like these, cookies. Do you want to make them for me? I'm like, okay. She goes, I'll pay you. I'm like, oh, cool. Double cool. I will do that. And then from there, I went, this is a business. As I started putting it out on social media, and people every week without fail have been ordering cookies and muffins and bars and everything. And so becoming a healthy homemaker really evolved out of a client wanting healthy food, but not wanting to go out and find the ingredients and put it together herself, because she's got a little one, and it's, life is busy with little kids. So I thought, I'm gonna do this. So I went through all the rigmarole to get my cottage food permit, so that I could be a healthy home baker and do that for people. And it's been a lot of fun. Been fun coming up with new flavors and new recipes too. So.
Yeah, so a lot of creativity going on in your business, in the Rhoads household and business world. Some good things came out of the pandemic. We had to be more creative with how we ran our businesses, and you even created a whole new model within your business. So,
yeah,
that's a blessing in something that's been so difficult on all of us. I could speak for myself.
Yeah, it was really challenging for me. I'm an introvert. My husband's highly extroverted, and my kids, one's an introvert, one's an extrovert, but everybody was all at home, school, work, everything. And I'm like, I'm really an introvert, and you all need to get out of my house. Like, and how did I have to deal with all of that? Kind of is how I birthed this home healthy. I keep saying that backwards, healthy home baking. It gave me somewhere to go and just kind of be in my own little world, which was a huge benefit.
That's a good idea. I too am an introvert, and my husband is also home. He was an extrovert. And so maybe I need to get in there and get to bacon, or maybe I just need to get on the phone in a quiet room by myself and call you and order some stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So you mentioned that you just finished up a ballet class. So you're also teaching dance. How did you get started in all of this? Where did this begin for you?
I was 5, and I knew I wanted to be a dancer. And I started taking class at 5, little kid classes, ballet tap combo classes. And it just grabbed hold of me, and it stuck with me my entire life. And in fact, I will be celebrating 40 years at this particular studio and being a dancer in April, which just kind of blows my mind. I started teaching dance at age 15, 16-ish. And I started teaching at that particular studio in addition to gymnastic studios and other dance studios up and down California, Bay Area and Merced, Atwater. I mean, pretty much wherever I could hustle my way in, I would go and teach a couple of dance classes. And I started doing that at 15, 16, and I have not stopped. When I was 9 months pregnant with both of my kids, just out to here, still doing like hip hop body rolls and because I couldn't not teach. I couldn't go on, bed rest and be like, well, forget it. I'm, like, luckily I wasn't ordered to do any of that, but it was just in me. I had to keep dancing. I'm very kinesthetic. That's how I learn. I learn by doing things, and being in a dance studio enabled me to learn more about who I was, or feel safe in my world, or understand other people, whatever was coming at me at the moment, through being in the moment and feeling the music come through me, which I'm a kinesthetic learner. Eventually, fast forward several years, landed me into being a personal trainer, which just kind of perfectly went into just how I understand myself, how I understand other people. I can communicate with you really well. Let's do a dance class together. I can communicate really well with you. Let's put on some hip hop music, or let's go and run, or do some burpees, or whatever. Because within that, all of a sudden, this barrier is somehow broken between people, and you can talk about all kinds of things. People will tell you all kinds of things when they're in the middle of plies or burpees or whatever, and hating life because they hate burpees. But things come out. So you end up becoming a therapist, so to speak, to people, a confidant. You learn about yourself and what you can push yourself to do, but you can also learn about other people and what their capabilities are that they didn't even realize they had. And you can push them to be a better person. So those two, dance and personal training, in my mind, in my body, in who I am, marry perfectly together, because they're so kinesthetic and interpersonal as well, which is kind of like a perfect little blend for me.
So it sounds like dancing kind of leaks out into personal training. So maybe you've got some clients that are dancing and others that are jogging, or maybe a little bit of both.
I do both, for sure. Actually, this year I kind of gathered a few of my personal training people, and just through conversation, they were like, I really want to dance too. I'm like, okay, well, cool. Let's start a dance class. So we did. So they train with me on particular days, but then they come and take adult dance classes with me as well. And it's a lot of fun. Like, one day we're going out and running around the park, and the next day we're at the bar doing ballet. And so I do have a small group of people who kind of follow me around and do various different things. And then I've got some that are separate that say, I cannot dance. It's not going to happen. I don't care to dance, whatever. And they stay separate, and they can do personal training and whatnot. And then I've got people who are just dancers. And they're all pretty much adults. I do still teach. My youngest is 9. So I do still teach kids, teenagers. But the majority of who I work with are all adults right now.
And what's your absolute favorite thing out of all of the modalities? What is your favorite?
It's probably hip hop, which is really weird, because growing up in the 90s, high school, even 2000s college, I was always like the random, like, white girl in the back. I mean, okay, let's be completely honest here. It's a Central Valley in California. We're all pretty much a bunch of awkward white girls in the back of this hip hop class. But I just wasn't funky. And a few years pass, and I'm ending up teaching these classes. And then now in my mid 40s, hip hop is easier to do on my body, on my joints, on my arthritic knees, than the technicalities of ballet and the technicalities of jazz. So if I have to pick right now, hip hop would probably be my favorite. But growing up, it was always jazz. But it's such a toss up because I go, oh no, I really want to do ballet today. Oh, I really want to do tap. So it's a toss up day to day. But overall, probably hip hop right now.
Mhm. Wow. So with all of these different things, like who is your absolute ideal client? Like who is your picture perfect, not perfect, but you know what I'm saying? Like who is that client that is, you know, what does your ideal client look like? The one that's really drawn to you, the one that you work with so well. What does that demographic or that person come to you like?
Pretty much anybody who is willing to honestly look at themselves and they don't want to be in the place that they're in their lives anymore. And they will do what is necessary to get out of it. That's where I was. And that's how Roads to Wellness was formed. And I took who I was when I started working out myself and before I created the business. And I wanted to create something for that type of a person. So let me kind of backtrack a bit. 2 babies, first baby, I had gained 60 pounds. I mean, I was just huge and didn't drop much of that weight. Second baby comes around, I gained some more weight. So I was just heavy, uncomfortable. My joints hurt. Everything just kind of, was heavy on me. I didn't look like a dancer anymore. I didn't feel like a dancer. Low self-esteem. I mean, I had borderline self-esteem issues anyway. I mean, any dancer does. I had body dysmorphia issues where I just really wanted to, like, I would visualize cutting chunks of my legs off because they were bad, they were fat, they were whatever. And I mean, I went through that for years, most of my teen college years. And so that really messes you up. Well, finally, after I had both of the boys, and I think, Luke is probably, my youngest was, I don't know, a baby. He was 6 months to a year. I was like, I got to do something. I got to do something. I cannot stay in this position anymore. I cannot be overweight. My dad actually kind of pointed it out in my dad kind of fashion way. Is like, you can't be this heavy anymore, Chris. And it was like, this isn't just living in me. Other people see this. Other people see that I'm not healthy looking, or that I'm too heavy for my body, my body structure. That snapped me into reality pretty quick. So I, being a young mom and having one income, my husband was working, but I wasn't. I was raising 2 little boys. I didn't have any expendable money to get a gym membership. I didn't have expendable money to get a home gym put in my garage. I had to figure out what to do on my own with very, very little money, 0 to, very, very small amount of money. What could I do? And I started working out in my garage every day, an hour or 2 hours a day. And I started with what I loved, which was ballet. I'd bring out, Dad made me a ballet bar. So I brought up the ballet bar and I would do ballet combinations. And then I started adding in jumping jacks, which sucked because everything just shook and hurt. And then I'd start with, a little bit of lifting weights. I'd find stuff that was heavy around the garage and lift that up. And then eventually, as it went on, I incorporated things like resistance bands, and we eventually got a boxing bag. And so things like that started accumulating in the garage, but that's not how I started. So I started with what I loved, which was dance, and some cardio, turn on some good music, and just kind of get into my own groove. But I also started with something I hated, but that I desperately wanted. And that drove me. It didn't keep me complacent in, I just love dance. I'm going to exercise and be, this ballerina in my garage. I wanted to be a runner, but I hated running with a passion because it hurt so bad. My joints would hurt, my hips, my knees, everything. And so I thought, okay, how can I start small and free and figure this out on my own? And I would literally run mailbox to mailbox in front of my house, in front of the neighbor's house, and eventually I'd go to the next neighbor's house and back and forth. And then eventually, and we're talking like months, probably a good 6-7 months, I finally made it around the block without stopping. And it was like, oh, I figured out how to do this to get something that I wanted accomplished, one small piece at a time for very little money. And I started seeing the repercussions of that, which over the year and a half or so, I dropped 60 pounds. And that led me into wanting to make better eating choices, because if you're going to fuel a 1 to 2 hour workout in the morning and take care of 2 little boys during the day, you have to eat well. You can't just fuel that with garbage and expect yourself to do it again the next day. So all of that evolved from not wanting to be in the place I was anymore. And so I took that, started the business in 2017, and I was starting out donation-based only. Like, how can I go out to the people who were me, who can't afford a trainer, who can't afford a gym membership, who can't afford equipment, who just need to get healthy? Because it wasn't fair in my mind that I couldn't afford all that stuff. I want to be healthy too, but I can't afford to be, paying all these high prices that wealthier people could pay. And then eventually, I got my bearings and felt more confident in my business and stopped having it as a donation and started charging. And it was like $5 a person. And that was reasonable. And eventually you get, more into your business, and a couple of years go by and you raise prices a little bit. But I've kept it fairly small for a personal training session for a group. It's only $10, and people are shocked. I'm 5 years into this business and people are still shocked. They're like, that's nothing, $10. I said, well, yeah, this isn't meant to be some elitist group that only the wealthy people can be healthy. This is supposed to be for everybody. And if you can't afford a membership to a gym and equipment, well, then you come to me and we'll figure this out. We'll go run, we'll go do exercise bands, and I'll meet you at your level. You don't need to meet me at mine. I'll meet you where you are, and then we'll rise up together. And that has been pretty much like a running motto I've had since I started this, because I wanted to be the trainer that I wanted, that I needed back when I couldn't afford it.
I love that. And I wanted to go back into something that you said, because I just believe that wholeheartedly, as far as, when somebody who's out of shape, who hasn't been exercising, and right now I'm speaking for myself because I got way out of exercise. We made a big move over here to Idaho, everything changed, and I just stopped not on purpose. It just kind of fell out of my routine for 2.5 years. I was in good shape at one point, now I'm not. But my whole motto, my whole, philosophy for myself was I have to create a new habit. And it's not about how hard can I work 5 days a week. I have to push myself. I'm going to meet this goal. It's more like, no, I just need to create a habit. And in order for me to create that habit, I need to enjoy it. And I need to meet myself where I am. Like, I am not where I used to be 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago. I'm not where I was, which was really defeating for me for a long time, because I would try. I've had adrenal fatigue for years, and I would try to do what I used to be able to do because I feel really great today, and try and do what I used to be able to do, only to literally kill myself for an entire week, just because I did something that was so easy for me before. So it took me a while to really come to terms with that I'm at a different point health-wise right now. I have to recreate the habit, same time of day, 3 days a week, 5 days a week, whatever it is, and just do something. Whether it's just walking around the block or doing some restorative yoga, which to me was like, I enjoy it, but not because it's like you're just laying there breathing like this is yoga. but sometimes that's what you have to do. And that is literally what I started doing back in November, was just a walk around the block and come home and restorative yoga. And I was like, but I did it. Every day is it's creating a habit. And and I always wanted to leave that feeling good, to the point where I either looked forward to it the next day, or 2 days later, whatever, or it was, maybe I wasn't looking forward to it, but I knew I could do it. It wasn't like, it's going to be horrible and I'm going to feel, it's going to be so hard. I didn't set myself up that way, and just created that routine. Now it's March. I've definitely got a routine. I can now, I'm at a slow jog on my treadmill. We go out and walk 30 minutes to an hour every day. And I'm back on my TRX and, doing all the things. But I had to start with that habit and meet myself where I am. And I feel really, really strongly about that. Like, I was in health and fitness. I still am. And it's been over 30 years for me since I got into that whole thing. And I totally get the whole body dysmorphia thing. I went to enough conventions where you're like, oh, I'm hideous,
Right.
and you're not. No, you're not hideous. But and I've been around enough personal trainers and seen that enough to see, like, this is why people give up on New Year's goals, right? Because they get pushed. They don't look at the big picture. They're looking at the goal. I need to do this right now in 30 days. And, I'm going on a vacation or whatever it is. And instead of creating that habit, it's about pushing as hard as you can, burning yourself out. I don't want to go anymore. I'm tired. I worked all day, and bam, you've fallen right off that New Year's goal. So, I was doing a lot of posts on that at the beginning of the year, and I have some more stuff I want to add to that. But I really love that you said that, and keeping it affordable for people too. And I know you don't utilize a gym, like you're in parks and in the garage, and you're thinking outside of the box. It's like people think, oh, I don't have time to go to the gym. You don't need a gym. And I'm sure you mentioned burpees. You don't even need a weight set. You have your body, right? I mean, you have, like, you were working out in your garage, just picking up anything you could that was heavy. It's, it's simple, or it's simple, but it's not easy always, right? It's simple.
Yeah. Well, and I think because it's not easy, because it has to come from that desire to really want to change for the long term. I mean, we can all get on a crash diet for 30 days,
right,
and go, cool, I lost it, but you're not going to keep it off, because that's what takes a determination to want to change from where you were. And a lot of people just don't have that.
Yeah. Or don't see that. It's sustainability. I'm all about sustainability right now, the long haul. It's not about being impatient. I am impatient, but not getting what I want today. Simon Sinek, I just saw a post that somebody shared on Simon Sinek, and it was really cool. And he was talking about, whatever your goal is, weight loss or muscle gain or whatever. He said, you're going to go to the gym today. That's what he was using. You're going to go to the gym today, and you're going to work out, and you're going to come home and look in the mirror, and you're not going to see anything different. And then you're going to do it again tomorrow, and you're going to come home, look in the mirror, you're not going to see anything different. And then you're going to do it the next day, and you're going to come home, and you're not going to see anything different. But don't give up, because it's consistency that creates sustainability. It's not 9 hours in the gym gets me to my goal. It is that consistency, the long haul, the starting where you are and being consistent that will get you there at some point. So yeah, that's really, really, really cool. And I'm glad that you're working that way with people. I think more people need to think that way and need to see that big picture. I mean, like I said, I'm impatient. I'm just not seeing the results I'm wanting to see yet. But again, I know that next year at this time, things are going to be much different health-wise and everything else. So sustainability, consistency, I love that. So, I think that's, I was going to ask you another question, but I think you already answered it. And that is, what is it that you would say separates you from other personal trainers and nutrition specialists and healthy home bakers? And it's probably what we were just talking about is that meeting each client where they are and taking them on their own personal road to wellness,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not dogging other personal trainers because I know there are a lot of really good ones out there. And I think just maybe the missing piece sometimes is that we're not explaining to our new client, you know, our new client, that this is for the long haul. This is what this is going to look like today and feel like today. Here's what we're trying to accomplish right now. Habit. Here's what this is going to look like 2 weeks from now. Here's what's going to look like, you know, and kind of talking that through with our clientele, which I haven't seen, you know, but you're, you know, so I think that's maybe what has you standing differently than them. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe there's something in addition you want to add to that.
No, I definitely think that it's that, because I haven't experienced my way of training people in a long time. In fact, I've gotten clients from other local trainers in the area, and they have said typical things of trainers. This person was like, I mean, you're, you know, fill in the blank. It's your TV kind of trainer, kind of a hard ass and gonna ride you, call you names kind of thing. And I'm just so the opposite. It's not about my goals. I tell them all the time, this is not my goals for you. These are your goals. I'm your guide. Let me come with you. And in fact, another thing I think that separates me from other trainers is I don't stand on the corner on the, you know, front end and bark out the exercises. I do them with you. So I'm literally in the trenches with you doing burpees. I hate burpees too, man. Okay, well, I kind of like them, but you know, there are certain things that I don't particularly like either, but I know they're a really good exercise, and I'm going to do them with you. There may be days where I've gone to 5 workouts plus dance classes, so I may be, you know, working out 5-6 hours, so to speak, in a day. So by the end of the day, I may be like, hey, I'm going to back out for just a minute on this particular thing, save my knees. But for the most part, with all of my clients, I'm doing it too. And I don't think that a lot of clients experience that. They experience the other version, which is just somebody, you know, barking out the orders and telling them that they're, you know, maggots or whatever. And, you know, you should lift harder, be heavier, and be this and be that, and push my car around the park and things like that. And you're just like, wow, okay. I think you get the short-term results in trainers like that from my experience that I've seen in my other clients. And you get longer term results in the way that I'm doing it, because I form a relationship with these people. I will gladly call the majority of my clients friends. Like, I'll talk to them on a daily basis, and, you know, we'll text each other back and forth because we are genuinely friends. And she also does pay me, and she is my client. So I've been able to bridge that gap between client and trainer to client, trainer, friend. Okay, cool. Now, you know what? Let's push you a little bit further, because I know you can. I know where you want to be. I know your heart, and I know what your goal is on a different level than just you wrote it down. You wanted to lose 30 pounds because, you know, it's swimsuit season coming. And so I can engage with my clients on a more personal level. And I think that sets me apart.
I would think so. Most definitely. So let's see. So many things. So we kind of talked about how you got into the baking piece of this, which was the pandemic. So now, do you work virtually, or is it solely in person, or how do you work with people?
So I did not start out virtual because there was just simply no need in 2017 or 18 or the majority of 19. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, good old Corona happened, and I was teaching a private dance lesson in person anyway. And that transitioned to, okay, well, the dance studio closed down. So I went into her house and we did it that way. And then that family got a little bit more cautious because they weren't quite understanding the virus. So it moved to online. So for about 2 years, year and a half, I trained this dancer 3 days a week virtually. And I wanted to reach through the computer and touch her and move her so much, it would drive me insane because I'm kinesthetic. So I want to touch you so I can understand you. But it taught me to be a even clearer of a teacher, because I really had to focus harder on this tiny little person on that computer and really zone in. Where are her hips? Where is her leg? Is she in the correct placement, or is that just the video that I'm seeing? So it gave me a little bit more perspective to look more minutely. And then, of course, that was a natural jumping off point to open that up to anybody, personal training, dance, whatnot. And I also taught for a theater company and did all of their classes online as well. So I was doing workup clients virtually. I was doing dance classes virtually. And then I just kind of started posting videos on my social media of me working out, or, clients, or me cooking or whatever. I haven't had to do that in a while. And I say had because, people are back in their locations and they're back in person, but I never really took it off of the menu, so to speak. It's always still in the background. If somebody would like to train virtually, I'm definitely open and available to that, but I haven't had many need to do that recently.
Well, I know on my social media pages, I've got people, of course, in Idaho and California and Florida and Texas. And, I've got some people coming from some different states that, may want to reach out to you. You may just be exactly who they need. So how can they get a hold of you?
I would love that. That'd be so much fun. It was actually a lot of fun being able to train virtually. So if anybody is interested in that, you can find me on, the easiest way to find me is to send me an email or to send me a text.
Okay.
I am on social media. I'm on Instagram and Facebook as well.
So I can put, if you want me to, text or email in the notes on this video, or people can message me and I can give it privately, however, whatever you feel comfortable with, or I can put your handle for Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah. So we can do all of that. We can add at the end of this, all my contact ways. I'm Rhoads to Wellness Coaching on Facebook, and Coach Christina and Rhoads to Wellness Coaching on Instagram. I have 2 different Instagrams and 2 different Facebooks. One's personal and then one's business. Sure. But they're all Rhoads to Wellness Coaching, either on Instagram or on Facebook. And then, we can definitely put out my number and email, and we can get connected that way as well.
Okay, sounds good. So I'll put that information in the comments or the notes on this video. Is there anything else you want people to know about you or your services or life in general?
Let's see. In that, when I wanted to be a runner and I wanted to take something I wanted and hated at the same time, and I wanted to let it transform me into something that I didn't even know was on the other side, it gave me some really fun tools. I don't necessarily call myself a running coach. I don't masquerade as that at all, but I do run with my clients and I do help them train for 5Ks. I've done that over and over again. I've got a fantastic program that I do help people train for 5Ks and 10Ks. It's a lot of fun, and it's easy, and then it'll kick your butt, and then it kind of backs off again. So it's a fun program. And I fell in love with running. It does still hurt. It does still, take it out of me, but in doing all of my training and pushing myself through something that I wanted but hated, which is such a weird dichotomy, I was able to run my first half marathon first year of the pandemic with my running partner. And man, 13.1 miles, that will kick your butt, something serious. But it was a lot of fun. I would do it again in a heartbeat. It was a lot of fun. So being able to take something that you hated and wanted and letting it transform you, that's a fun place to be in. And I would love to help people move through that process themselves.
That's awesome. Well, I know that I'm pretty positive that first 5K we did together. That was the color run.
Color run. Yeah.
I know you've come a long ways since that. That was, gosh, 8 years ago. I don't know how many years ago that was, but
Yeah. I don't know. It was a lot of fun. We started out in white shirts and then we ended up just splatter painted with muddy colors. It was so much fun.
Yeah, that was fun. Well, that's awesome, Christina. I'll post your contact info in our notes and reach out to her. She is a valuable resource. She can help you. She wants to help you, and she's a good person too. So find her and reach out and get the help.
I'm
And
here for you.
that's awesome. All right. Well, thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We'll talk again soon.
All right. Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye-bye.